Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing well. We made it. Made it to another story update. Let's see. Hi, Helem. Hi, Techno Critter. Hi, Hydra Fighter. Hi, Gig. Hi, Pills. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, there's something like doubly exciting about, I think, the like pre-next canto intervallos, particularly since the warp intervallo, where we had like such a big reveal at the end. I don't know, I don't think the other ones had quite as much of like a reveal as More Than the Warp Express did, but I'm always keen like what kind of nuggets we're gonna get for the upcoming content. Let's see. Hi, Smoky Meadows. Hi, Kadia. Hi, Helem again. Hi, Doc. Welcome, 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 welcome. I love how creepy the rewards look like. Now that we can like see this logo a bit more clearly, I've been trying to figure it out. Event bonus. I haven't figured out what team. I mean, obviously it's like leaning us towards the Blade lineage, but I want to go full Blade lineage until we get these. I did spend a guaranteed ticket and didn't get anything. That's okay. That's okay. I assume when I won't find out till we get in, but I think any sort of slash. You got Ishmael lucky. I'll do some sort of slash shenanigans, and then maybe by tomorrow somebody will have it to borrow. Or at least Tonglu will probably be up to borrow by tomorrow. Do you want this to be the music? Oh, thank you, of course, and of course, everybody, Camerazilla. I want everybody to enjoy the event however they want. So please don't ever feel bad for not watching when I'm going right at the time. But so I thought, given the themes of this event, actually before we started, I wanted to do a tiny little talk about the history of photography. Let's go. Let's do default music. There's not extra animation going on. And I don't want this to be considered a lecture or anything, because I'm not going to really elaborate on certain points. I just want to do like a very quick introduction on some aspects that I think are particularly interesting. I'm just looking at two very particular points in the history of photography, and I'm not even going to fully elaborate, because I don't want to spend I want to get into it. I don't want to spend too long, but let me just get my notes up here. I'm here. Okay. Put them so I can see them. As we're going into a photography theme. Oh, which is so cool. Look at those Polaroids. So what is photography really? What is a photograph? It is the recording or fixing of light to a surface to create an image. Nowadays we mostly use digital tools. I'm sure everybody is familiar with digital cameras, but I think in daily life it's just a normal part of our phones, really. But historically, chemical processes and light-sensitive materials were used. So when the question who invented photography is brought up, we're actually asking something more like who developed the processes to make photography possible. And there isn't really a straightforward answer, given that people were experimenting with these processes throughout history. So the question, where did it first begin, isn't super obvious. We have the whole history of the camera obscura. And forgive me for using Wikipedia screenshots here. I didn't quite have time to put together a full presentation, but I still wanted a sort of, at least not just a visual aid, but a spelling aid, so people also want to look up. I'm talking about a little bit. We have the camera obscura, which was sort of an early projection device, and that sort of led into a lot of ideas about the cameras. And the camera obscura, we have writing dating back to ancient China. Aristotle described it. Ibn al-Haytham wrote extensively on the subject, particularly in the Book of Optics. However, history generally credits Nicephore Niepce and Louis Daguerre as the fathers of photography, or at least the ones who unlocked photography for the public. So if you ask like somebody who invented photography, the very, very flat, simple answer might just be Daguerre because it's the easiest. But Niepce is actually credited with developing a method called heliography and the creation of the oldest surviving photograph, which I have here. View from a window at Le Gras. It still exists and is still that blurry. It's amazing. It's so amazing. That's just our little window into not just the world of the time, but his world. So this is done with heliography. And one of his colleagues was named Louis Daguerre, and they decided that they would develop faster and better if they worked together. So they started collaborating. However, Niepce passed away, although Daguerre did have a contract with him and his family, so he was still a part of the process. But Daguerre iterated upon his process and developed a method called the daguerreotype. So daguerreotypes are printed on silver plates, and when I think about when these were first revealed to the public, not only is the idea that it's a photograph, obviously that would be really striking to anybody who hadn't seen them before, but a daguerreotype, you can see in this photo of him there, they're really, really beautiful. It's hard to describe exactly without seeing one in person, but they're on silver, and the image is so sharp, and the image feels like slightly above the silver backing, so there's almost a three-dimensional floating above the silver effect. And I can just imagine just like seeing these for the first time. They're weighty, they're so sharp, as I said, and unfortunately I don't really know where it's easy for someone to go find them. I remember I had a professor who had some, and some other types of like old photographs, and I do believe we also like visited a local art gallery who had some in storage. That's how I was able to see them. You can actually find them on eBay fairly expensively, but you can just buy some if you'd like. And I definitely, when seeing them, there was definitely, and often these ones you find on like eBay, there might be a name, but more likely they're just sort of anonymous. We don't know who these people were, but here are people who were rich enough and were able to spend the money on getting a daguerreotype. And there was definitely a sense, I remember that specifically, that odd sense of like melancholy. I don't know who these people are, and somehow their photographs ended up in these secondhand sales, and they exist sort of as objects now, as sort of luxuries. But so I don't know how one would find them easily unless you want to spend money getting them secondhand. Maybe if you have like a local old photograph gallery, but they're really, really striking. Let's go back to Daguerre. So Daguerre, once he like felt like he perfected this process, he showed them off in like did these very secretive presentations, and then in 1839 the French government bought the patent from Daguerre in exchange for a lifelong pension for him and Niepce's family. The French government then released the process as a quote-unquote gift to the world. So now not only was photography like invented, but the process was open to anyone. And I always think about that now because it's just something I can't really imagine happening nowadays. This sort of landmark process, and then realizing the sort of like importance for it culturally, it was just released. Open source, exactly. It's exactly open source. I guess it's like the closest comparison, but I can't imagine something like this happening at like quite a scale. However, Niepce and Daguerre were not the only people at the time who were working on methods of permanently capturing images from light, which is why I say the history is a little complicated if you want to dig into it. We also have Hippolyte Bayard, who developed his own paper-based photography method, but was basically completely overlooked because he didn't really release it in time. So in response, he made this photograph called Self-Portrait as a Drowned Man in sort of response to him being overlooked. I love this thing. And this is now sort of recognized as being the first stage photograph. So this is at a time when people could just go to the morgue and the morgue would put on bodies on display, so unclaimed bodies, so people could go and like look for unclaimed bodies and hopefully they could find out who some of these people are. So that was sort of the situation behind this picture. So this is him trying to get attention from it. The corpse which you see here is that of Monsieur Bayard, inventor of the process that has just been shown to you. The law, then government, which has only been too generous to Monsieur Daguerre, has said it can do nothing for Monsieur Bayard, and the poor wretch has drowned himself. What a character. There's a couple things I wanted to share about this, but like there's a couple photographs here that like always stuck with me. So he was one of the people that were also working on his own process. But we also have William Henry Fox Talbot. So he was an Englishman, and he was very interested in capturing the images that he saw in nature, but lamented that the fact that he had no talent for art. So see, you don't need AI, all you need to do is invent photography. So we began to experiment with photosensitive materials, and what he'd do is you can make paper. There are certain materials that make paper photosensitive, and he would take plants and put them on the paper and then leave them out in the sun, and then the white paper, when it was exposed to the sun, would turn black and the parts that were covered would stay white, so he'd get impressions of plants. And so that was sort of the start of his experiments. And then he eventually invented and these became actually the first photographic negatives, which led him to invent the calotype. The cal part, I believe, coming from the Latin for beauty. And so this was actually a paper-based process. So while paper-based prints tend to be blurrier, the calotype actually has several advantages over the daguerreotype. Paper is obviously easier and cheaper to work with than silver plates and mercury. And because it produced negatives, it meant the process you could reproduce multiple copies of the same image. There were no negatives involved in making daguerreotypes. Yeah, the mercury fumes specifically. Even if the process was open sourced, it didn't mean it was entirely accessible to everybody. You did need the materials. So unfortunately, this process also got a bit overlooked. He does have a sort of more complicated place in the history of photography, because he did patent the calotype, which obviously did not make it accessible. I empathize with him and Bayard, who also deserve credit for their inventions, and seeing Daguerre get a lifelong pension. I get it, but it did make like photography a lot less accessible, particularly in England. But he also made the first commercially published book of photography, which is called The Pencil of Nature. And I This is on Project Gutenberg. It's pretty easy to find. And I love this, not just for like the photography, but for his writing. He talks about the process of coming up with the calotype, and you really begin to understand how he thought of photography and nature. And I really like this quote here, because photography still wasn't really understood or seen by the general public, so we had to insert a little notice, which is: the plates of the present work are impressed by the agency of light alone, without any aid whatsoever from the artist's pencil. They are the sun pictures themselves, and not, as some persons have imagined, engravings in imitation. And I love his whole approach and understanding of light and nature and what a photograph was. That's such a cool quote. That's why I really want to. It's always stood out to me and stayed close to my heart, because it's so different. I think what photography is just such a common part of our world now. And the sort of understanding of it was so different. And I really love his writing, just the way he wanted to approach. You can see he also like experimented with microscopes and was just so fascinated with like the beauty of nature and wanting to record it. Again, there's the quote, modern necromancy, the sort of idea being people in the future will be able to see things exactly as they were in the past, which I think is really a really fascinating way of putting it. Yes, highly recommend checking this out. The other thing I wanted to share a little bit about is pictorialism. And I put, not the Wikipedia pages all, but I put some other, just a couple references and further reading in the description. So pictorialism is a late 19th, early 20th century movement that's loosely defined as emphasizing the painterly qualities of photography, often by some sort of manipulation to the process. And this is to illustrate that photography is an art form, not a means of just purely recording reality. So pictorialism, it's important to note that it was done. You really have to think about the context and when it was being developed, which is just this: photography is now, it is a recording of reality, and the developments here are people trying to sort of rebut that. Photography doesn't just have to be truth, it can be art, and should be considered art, and the work that is put into it can take the same methods and developments that art does, and it's worth it. So one of the people considered like the father-grandfather of pictorialism is Henry Peach Robinson. So he was a big promoter of composite photography, which is the combination of multiple negatives into a final image. However, this idea of photo manipulation was really controversial at the time because, as I said, photographs capture the truth. So what does it mean that we can now manipulate that truth? It was a really sort of like controversial, even upsetting idea. Early Photoshop, I know it's kind of funny, particularly calling it like photo manipulation. It's also pretty normalized when we look at photography. But then it was just sort of like shattering all conceptions about what photography is and should be, and it was wrong. So he wrote a book called Pictorial Effect in Photography, being hints on composition and chiaroscuro for photographers, which I've read some of. I need to read all of it. We can tell just from the way hints on composition and chiaroscuro, this he considered photography art, and you can incorporate the same sort of artistic techniques. For instance, he would sketch out composition before taking the separate photographs. He would figure out the different. He would figure out the lights and darks. He would. So I'm just also paying attention to chat. he would try. Look at him trying to assemble the sheep. And his most famous composite photograph is called Fading Away. I'll put here. It's a composite of 5 negatives and depicts a young woman dying of tuberculosis, which that in itself was also quite controversial. Photography should not be used to depict such a like sad and horrifying truth. It's not right. So he emphasized the importance of composition and brought in artistic techniques such as chiaroscuro. There's also sort of symbolism with the young women. Both of them are depicted in white, representing innocence and purity. You can see just like the father, or the presumed father, in the background. I love the sort of window, how he's completely in dark. 5 negatives? Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. And then one of his colleagues was Oscar Raylander. So he was originally a painter and took up photography, and later took up photography, and really tried to push what could be done with the medium. And he experimented with composite photography and even double exposure. You can see some of his photographs, even just like the posing of the models feels very sort of classical painting. And his most famous photograph is called Two Ways of Life, pardon. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show it here because it has nudity, which is kind of ironic given the photograph itself was proved controversial for having that exact nudity. Nudity was considered fine in painting and sculpture, but in photography, that's indecent. Regardless, it's a scene of over 20 characters and took over 30 negatives to assemble. And that's one of the other things that has always stayed with me after seeing it in class. Just the composite, like the idea of it taking 30 negatives, how long it must have taken to put together. You have to see like the very careful posing and framing of every single character in it. It's incredible. So this is called Two Ways of Life. Very recommend checking it out. And I think sometimes it was displayed with like some of the, like only half of it would be displayed because of the nudity. But yes, that's my quick little introduction on basically very early history of photography and pictorialism, mainly because there's just a couple points I wanted to share that I think are really cool. And here we are. I see some people saying that they've had trouble getting in. Let's see if I'm allowed to actually start. We can see if any of that turned out to be relevant, but I just wanted to share some of that. This history of photography is one of my favorite little aspects to look at. Earn photos. I wanna see the ticket. Oh, here we go. But let's see if I'm allowed in. Consultation session. No, wait. For this one, we should go about it like... I guess that might be Tay. No, Heathcliff's been in the Vanguard for too long. I should pull him back and let him... Dante, are you planning to... roller shard. Shard next week. Maybe... borrow. Borrow if anybody has them for now. Huh? Oh, sorry, did you say something? I provided you an answer to your question. You exhibited no observable response. Is the Sinner's combat performance deteriorating beyond manageable parameters? No, things aren't that bad, but It's just hard to focus on one conversation when I'm trying to support battles happening in completely different places at once. Good point. On top of that, Rhodia's shopping chatter is starting to get a little distracting. A few days after we entered Incorp's district. Oh, we're really gone. Right when Northern Lions started playing Road to Empress 2, we've left. The bus pulled over in the back streets of Incorp to take care of a distortion case. The contract was supposed to be handled jointly with the LCD team, but distortion suddenly started cropping up all over an area of the back streets called Butter Street without any coherent pattern, no obvious point of origin or route of spread, nothing convenient like that, and I had no choice to split the sinners into several groups and send them out. Odish, Ishmael, Sinclair, Don Quixote, Isang, and Mersault were on their way to rendezvous with LCD team. I guess you gotta balance some of the weaker with some of the stronger. I might put Otis and Ishmael on separate teams. Just for the leadership stuff. Heathcliff, Gregor, and Honglu were suppressing distortions that had showed up from other directions. And with our onboard stock scraped down to the bottom, Rhoda and Ryoshu, who were done with their share of suppression work, were put in charge of buying supplies for the bus. Okay, so it's not exactly average. I mean, like, same amount of people on each team. As for Faust, she decided to stay behind with me on the bus. I wanted to get through the consultation sessions I'd been putting off, and thought I might as well get myself some much-needed practice with handling the new golden bow power I'd acquired. To reiterate, there's no issue requiring special concern regarding Faust. It is true that Faust has, on several recent occasions, expressed dissatisfaction with a certain Faust. However, those instances should be classified as mere personal grievance. I mean, that's good if that's all there is to it, but this was not the first time Faust had seemed unlike herself. There had been times before when she spent far longer alone than usual, lost in thought, moments when she could not produce immediate answers to questions from other sinners or me. Could it be you can't access the Gesellschaft? May I ask your basis for that inference? 'Cause you're acting a lot like you did back on the warp train. It appears there remains occasions on which you are still capable of surprising Faust, Dante. So I was right? You really are cut off in the Gesellschaft? That was not intended as a confirmation of your conjecture. Maybe she's saying that while she can technically access the Gesellschaft, it may as well be that she can't? I wish I could ask more and get to the bottom of it, but the way she was sidestepping the subject told me that prying wouldn't give me any further insight. Right, I won't press you if you don't want to talk about it. Your reserve is appreciated. Shall we move on? Yes, your consultation is the next agenda. After cross-referencing the records pertaining to the recent events in the House of Spiders, it would appear that memories concerning the individuals designated as Sora and Ren currently remain only with you, Dante. As such, should the influence of Ryosho and her sword lead to further omissions in the official records, the manager will be responsible for supplementing the necessary information. Yeah, not the first time I was the only one left with intact memories, huh? That's right. Despite K-Corp's memory wipe procedure, Catherine's erasure by the Golden Bow's power, and Arayashiki's severing people from existence, I was the only one who remembered what had transpired. But ironically enough, the memories I had prior to swapping my head with this clock still showed no sign of returning. Why won't my old memories come back, though? Is it because of this clock head? I mean, I wonder what the actual mechanism for all that is, like... I wonder if it's something to do with, like, being able to access mirror worlds. There's probably mirror worlds where they somehow exist. I guess that's complicated with Kathy. mean, besides just like Damien and such also seeming to have that power, I wonder if there's like an actual concrete mechanism or explanation for that. Speculations based on your experience with the bus team thus far will not meaningfully contribute to the recovery of your former memories, manager. Inductive reasoning conducted from memories with gaps, after all, is bound to have structural limitations. Bongi would serve as an adequate analogy. Bongi? Yes, Bongi. Receiving feed and increasing in body mass alone would provide it with no meaningful basis for identifying the purpose of its rearing. Even at the terminal stage, when exposed to kitchen instruments in the heat of the stove, its limited experience would prove inadequate to constitute an understanding of its ultimate fate and purpose. Likewise, the ultimate answer to your doubts can only be attained from the whole of the experience that you will have accumulated at the terminus of your entire journey. That is, your allotted mission. Because treasure awaits at the end of the road, at the end of hell. And that treasure will give me back my memories and my head, also. Indeed, at the end of the road, you'll be able to engrave your aspect. I still have no idea what aspect means. Me too. Even whether it's an object. But if I know one thing, it's that the me from before all of this began had wanted it badly, obsessively, desperately. I wonder if it has to do with, like, engraving the mark, maybe. It's more like an instinctive knowledge, but with my memories gone, that feeling, however strong it is, does not change the fact that just another word with no discernible mental image. Why was Faust? Was she talking like this here? But before... I guess she's speaking Dante's language there. And you're not gonna tell me what it actually is, are you? The aspect. Oh, I did my mic peek there. Is that okay? That looks okay. Okay. What it means or why I wanted it so much. If it remains a piece of information that must be disclosed to you, then no. I'm unable to tell you. Yet no mind, you're still following your star acceptably. Please concentrate on the journey. More importantly, have you grown accustomed to that incomplete power? Current observation suggests you have yet to arrive at that level. Well, I've gotten pretty used to focusing on one place at a time, but keeping track of several places at once is still a bit rough. This feels like... It's just like LobCorp. This feels like a core suppression mechanic. Otis's team is doing well in combat even without my direct supervision, and Rhodia's team is shopping and not engaged in battle at the moment. Taking my mind off them would prove much easier. But that wouldn't give me the much needed practice, so I'm doing my best to keep an eye on every sinner's status. Sufficient familiarity should result in substantial tactical value. You would be able to cast a wider net when information gathering and employ previously unavailable tactical patterns. Right, and I'd also be able to tell when it's a bad time to call someone in, too. Even as I continue talking with Faust, I make sure not to stop observing the places where each group is and what they're doing. Yep, pulling Heathcliff to the rear was the right call. I don't see any injuries. His team's still doing pretty well, even without my directions. It's a good thing this is a turn-based game, not real-time. As for Rhodia, wait, did she just stuff all the pastries and bread she bought into her pockets? How did she manage that with a huge baguette? I noticed this group. Let's see. Looks like they joined up with the LCD team without any issues. LCD. Then that guy over there must be... Hang on. Faust, there's a dude I've seen before, but he seems a bit, different from what I remember. Could you specify the issue? I'm monitoring the situation right now. We should probably join up with them too. Let's end the consultation here. This is rather precipitous, Dante. If the incident is of a serious nature, perhaps a request for support from the LCC. No, it's not an incident. Though I wouldn't say it's not serious. Yes? Tea time. I got some mint tea. Who are we talking to here? This is going from bad to worse, really. Dante seems to be tied up helping the other groups. Otis's command calls have been working out well enough. I'll give her that. We managed to hold the line better than expected, but we're definitely starting to feel the strain. Why are you waving your hand all the arm and hand signals? What signals? What's swinging the arm sideways even supposed to mean? You don't know? It's scatter, darn it, so scatter! That was close. We almost got flattened. Darn it. Even rookies with nothing but the most rudimentary of military training would have recognized a hand signal that basic. Well, we're not all trained soldiers here, are we? Verily, the flourish of a single hand doth indeed make a boast of chivalric elegance. Yet when thou suddenly wavest thine arm about, clenching and unclenching thy hand in thy mystical fashion, only to suddenly turn tail, forsooth, I am left bereft of understanding what thou meanest to say. To think that of all the personnel in the team, only the swabby has the discipline to interpret a basic field signal. I only picked it up during my sailing days, and realistically speaking, did you really expect ordinary people like the others to understand professional military signals? This is unacceptable. After all the operations all of you been deployed under my lead, you're all still ignorant when it comes to nonverbal signals. I don't think even Dante would know those signals. Yeah, might as well be splitting hairs, literally. Let us appease our agitated hearts and follow Miss Otis's instruction. We should disperse and withdraw. Megaton landing! Hey, pretty cool, huh? Let's face it, I know how to make one heck of an entrance. Ezra! Still can't believe you're here. It's still not real to me. But she's real. And I get to see her. I get to hear her sometimes. Whoa, are you supposed to be cleaning up the distortions upstairs? Oh, finito a million years ago. You guys are taking forever, so I figured I'd take a peek and lend a hand. You're welcome. Lit by your thundering descent, the floor's form and shape are now crushed beyond mending, sunken deep enough to be likened to the incipience of a wellspring. Don't you worry your head about it. That's all the after teams to take care of. Anyway, that should be all of them, right? The force of your landing neutralized the last of the distortions outside of the building. Outside of the building. Great! Can you check on the distorted peeps' faces and clothes? Their faces are all segmented. Makes my skin crawl. Not a pleasant sight. As for their attire... this one appeareth to be a sweeper! Oh. And that one yonder bears the attire of an ordinary fixer. Sleeper distortion. Because I was playing the new Arknights event. I say if we ever get an English dub, let Rose Salt's English voice actor. Rose Salt's English voice actor take a crack at Dawn. Sleepers can distort, I mean... They're human, so... And this distortion I landed on? Probably a local resident, judging by the clothes. Did any of you happen to see anything nearby bursting with a big pop and flash? Nay, not once. Okie dokie. You know what? Let's all head up upstairs. This suppression request is kind of a pain. We'll need to put together a nice neat plan before we start poking it too hard. A plan, sayest thou? How was it not a mere matter of sling distortions where they stand? Wait, did nobody brief you? This has often been the structure of our assignments. We are given instructions, we perform them, and only afterward do we begin to perceive the nature and contour of the task which we have committed to our hands. Really? I guess every department has its own way of doing things. No big deal. I'll explain everything once they're upstairs. Oh, by the way, you didn't get to meet the whole team last time, did you? Only our new girl. This time, Mr. Bamboo Hatted Kim's also here. He's here, so... he's okay now? He sure is. You'll be surprised once you see just how okay he is now. I don't know if I want to see his face. It feels wrong after all this time. But last time you said he was still under treatment. To be precise, I believe Miss Engdu stated that his mind is yet to regain its former tranquility. That... You get it once you see him. I feel like we'll just end up having the same conversation twice if I say anything about it now. Creak. Oh. Like the CG. You've arrived. It's blinding. It's so bright. The midday sun is pouring in like crazy. Yet the warm tickle of the sunbeam is rather agreeable. No, this is not sunlight. Actual aura. Because unlike this, there's more to the sunshine than its warmth. Okay, for everybody who was not there for the Arknights collab, we gotta drop this in. You have to say it again. I mean, fair enough. Then what exactly is this light? Is the thing on again? It's bright enough to fry my eyeballs. Apologies, Lady Ezra. I'm yet to be accustomed to this machine. This is my first time laying a hand upon the complicated workings of such a contraption. It activated of its own accord, and I have yet to discover the method by which it may be silenced. That's why I told you to leave it alone. Fiddling with things you don't understand usually ends with something, or you, broken. Nothing good comes of it, I tell you. But Mentor, Lady Moses has instructed me that in every moment and event, clues are hidden under the veil of one's surroundings and must be examined with care. Yes, and that only works if you're savvy about the knack. Hang on, did you just say Mentor? I'd not yet been afforded a proper opportunity to introduce him to you. This here is the esteemed leader of the Blade lineage, who is all but a master under whom I've apprenticed. Do you really have to dress it up like that? I told you, I only took on the role because there wasn't anyone else around to take up the job. Switch! Where's the switch? Aha! Gotcha! A whole new sprite! Really? Really? It feels wrong. I can see his ID card. Hohenheim was so popular they needed to make another one. Because I remember he had like a really intense voice in the intervallo. Okay, I'm gonna have to change it. I don't. Okay, if we had to have a reveal, I think there was no other option. Wasn't expecting entirely new sprites, Vendu. I'd take that hoodie. Goodness. Known as Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Yeah, that's me. Guess I should be pleased to meet you, folks. Oh, Ponytail. Come back. I might like this. What do you mean, aura loss? What do you mean, aura lost? This is even better. Somewhat upsetting. No! No! This is better than I could have hoped for. Listen, by saying that, you know he's gonna have a cool moment. You know he's gonna have like a... You know he's gonna have a moment where he's gonna jump in and save us, like in the last canto. I have to give him a different voice. Oh, I love this background. Okay, so... More often than not, first impressions are prone to change. The bamboo-hooded Kim I remember was a man who drowned in his own fathoms, blaming himself for his powerlessness with a listless, heavy voice. I know, imagine I was doing a listless, heavy voice there. That, however, had been while he was distorted and sunken into himself, so I figured his original personality might be somewhat different. I'm telling you, Bamboo-Hatted Kim's stocks just went way up. You're all non-believers. But this is not just somewhat. His personality isn't even the same ballpark as my expectations. You're telling me this guy here is Bamboo-Hatted Kim? Yep, we double-checked with Ezra and she said he really is the same guy. Whoa, what do I do? I don't even know what to do here. Whoa, that head of yours on your heads is not... That fire on your head's not hot at all? Fascinating stuff. Can you... Okay, can we check again, just in case? I really can't wrap my head around the fact that this is the sullen, serious man whom we fought. Just look at what he's doing. He's rubbing my face all over like he's checking out some kind of mantelpiece ornament. Lots of ticking and talking going on. That's supposed to sound like them talking to you folks, huh? Further confirmation would be redundant, Dante. This individual is conclusively identical to the one designated as Bamboo-Hatted Kim. I got no idea what you folks are so suspicious about. And dude, just what exactly have you been telling people out there about me? They're all staring like they've seen a ghost. I like the look. I told them you're a gallant and formidable warrior mentor. But they don't look like they've heard the most flattering things about me. There, don't you hear it? The faint undercurrent of disappointment in the ticking. I also told them that you're a man of few words, with much affection for the followers under your command. Indu. Yes, mentor? That's a complete and utter lie. Man of few words is definitely not something you can say about a guy who's as talkative as me, don't you think? Yet I spoke no falsehood. Although your conduct is rather shallow and perhaps less refined for a leader of an organization, you are much more reserved and taciturn when conversing with those unfamiliar to you, are you not? Is he shy? Just like me for real. No matter who one may be, one is bound to inspire either approval or disapproval from those around him. So, I refrained from mentioning any truths that might invite the latter. To even hint at anything that might tarnish the reputation of my master would not be unlike spitting on his name, and by mine, by extension. I love that she's gonna be like his biggest fan, biggest hype man. I simply had no reason to put on airs in front of my own folks. Just look at that! In any case, oh, so you can't see anything if I block this part, Do tell, how many fingers am I holding up? Those are not my eyes, you know. Kinda like I'm worn out, me too. Your own folks, huh? Then you've already acknowledged and accepted that you now belong to Limbus Company. Why didst thou not pay a visit to the LCE? Rarely, when one's mind is plagued by the absence of tranquility, venturing forth into the open air and touchable field of grass cleareth the storm of the heart. I think this Don Quixote telling people to touch grass is gonna get some meme uses. An asset of the company is expected to act in the company's interest, yet for whatever reason, I didn't see you fighting on the field of battle during Operation Spiderpire. You will have to account for your absence in the mission. Otis addressed Kim as though she were conducting a formal investigation, every word flat and hard. It was obvious she was not about to let her guard down anytime soon. What mission? Oh, that one. Kim finally seemed inclined to assume a more serious disposition. He stopped peering into my face and turned toward Otis, although his hand was still on my head. I'm looking forward to the fan art. Alright, clearly there's some disconnect in expectations here. Listen here, you. I'm really not all that about hard, bothersome work. Get what I mean? The real disconnect was between his stoic expression and the words coming out of his mouth. What? Let's talk about the kind of fellow I am. Meet the resident layabout who's forced to do his job, with a frown too, I might add. Only when he's got absolutely no other choice. I'm really not some big shot into who's apparently been promoting me as folks. Do you think this was the plan all along? I mean, I know trust the plan with a capital A. But was this always the plan? I'd very much like to stop getting roped into stuff that keeps putting my life on the line. Fine, then what did you join the LCD in the first place if you'd rather be unemployed? No, never mind. They probably forced you to stay. You catch on quick. First they spout this nonsense about distortions and all, and then force hired me, calling me a company-owned resource or whatever. And the other day, they were on about, what's it name? Golden Bow? Yeah, they invited me on a tour to another department to listen in on some important presentation. And I accepted. I thought it'd be a fine opportunity to broaden my perspective. And dear, there are times when your commitment to duty shines brighter than the sun. I find that attitude so dazzling that I have to squint when I'm looking at you. Who knows, maybe that's why I'm wearing this bamboo hat, to shade my eyes from your utter brilliance. Do you mean to say that you are in need of a shield to protect your eyes? Lady Ezra, might I submit a request for a pair of sunglasses for my mentor? Only if it's not too much of an imposition on the budget, that is. It's just like me. I wear glasses. That right there, that's what I keep telling you not to do. You can't just say yes to every silly thing he says and turn it into a supply request. Small expenses add up a lot, you know. You gotta save up everything you can in the piggy bank while you still can, or you'll end up broke. Is there truly no room for reconsideration? I love his face changing in the background. No means no. She's got the Ishmael face. Then pray, make the purchase for me. I shall cover the cost myself. No can't... Wait, what? My poor mentor is in a state of great discomfort, yet I possess neither the wisdom nor the knowledge to navigate the silver tongue of merchants and the maze of stalls to locate the very best item, so I must beg this favor of you. You're giving me a freaking headache, girl. I'm aware that you and yours are no strangers to such dealings. There's no one else I can trust to complete such a procurement with the swiftness of the wind. You know what? Never mind what I said. I'll just get you what you want. You heard the gentle lady, mentor. Your suffering shall soon be alleviated. Right. My apologies for interrupting you amid conversation. Pray, continue. You had reached the part where they invited you to tour another department. No sooner Indu's words left her lips than her eyes glinted with something I couldn't really put my finger on. But it was a strange intensity that sent a chill down my spine. Yeah, so that day I was just gonna relax here and watch some TV. Well, good on you for showing up to work today, I guess. Let's say there's a debt to be repaid. At least you understand that we are indeed indebted to the company. Yeah, I suppose I do. Kim's gaze lingered on Indu's prosthetic arms as he answered, Oh, Miss Indu, your arms. Only after following Kim's gaze did Sinclair seem to notice Indu's brand new prosthetic arms. The last time we saw her, Indu had lost both her arms. And I remember Ezra asking her to sit tight and choose what type of prosthesis she wanted. Those arms are probably it. It's not just the arms, even her clothes are different now. And that sword. I had these arms fitted anew as soon as the operation was concluded. The gracious hosts in one of the LCD's teams had prepared them in advance. With evident satisfaction, Endu held up her dark metallic wrists as if to showcase them. The components fixed on her arm clicked and rattled, unfolding for a moment before neatly folding back into place. Oh, such graceful smoothness, wed to machine articulation. It is as though I am beholding the marvelous prostheses of the illustrious Siegfried himself. Yep, the showcase would have gone lackluster without that trademark reaction. Those are strikingly similar to Schwartz Industries' N7 lineup. I thought that model was discontinued. Nah, not theirs. It's one of the prototypes developed by LCD's Phenomenon Deciphering team, and they put them on her for trial. Doubt you'll find another like them. They're based on technology spun from distortions. Oh, I see. For a brief moment, Sinclair's eyes lit up as if he had glimpsed something that brought him back to a memory. And just as quickly he fell silent, whatever he wanted to say next catching in his chest. Does something trouble you, Master Sinclair? Oh. It wasn't hard to understand what struck the tender memory for Sinclair, and why it cast a shadow over his face. But... well, somehow Chroma returned. She was there. I saw her. Sorry, it just reminded me of something from a long time ago. My dad used to work with prosthetics before he passed away. I thought this was the exact same model I saw back then. It appears I lack tact. These arms have stirred a painful memory within you. For that, I apologize. It's alright, I'm fine now. Sinclair's voice still carried a faint tremor, but beneath it, there was a firmness that had not been there before. He really had grown a great deal. You can thank yours truly for picking the sword. I was there with her. Why didn't you pick... Levitine? I did inform Lady Ezra that any blade could serve as a weapon. That could serve as a weapon would suffice, but she insisted on browsing the goods. I dare say I was given the opportunity to lay my eyes on every type of sword I could ever hope to see in this life, walking through the workshop street that day. Oh please, girl, we walked for just 4 hours. That's nothing. Whistle. While everyone was distracted taking in Indu's new outfit and equipment, Kim had quietly slipped away from the crowd and crouched down in a corner. He was rummaging through things scattered on the floor, picking them up. Is he pocketing them? Anyway, what is this place supposed to be? What are all these things? It's basically a wreck now, but there are strobes in that cloth backdrop over there. Maybe it used to be a photo studio? Abandoned Photo Lab, District 14. Oh, that could explain why there's so many photos stuck around the place. Probably? This thing definitely looks like a camera, at least. Then Claire picked up a small cylindrical object and turned it over in his hands, studying it with curiosity. What do you suppose this is? A battery, maybe? Film canister? Ah, there's some kind of strip inside. Let me just pull it out. No, that's... Otis shouted a sharp warning at Sinclair as if she had realized something. But Merceau's hand shot out before she could even finish, clasping over Sinclair's wrists before the strip could be pulled out. Yeah, what's the deal here? He did that without instruction. What did I do? Exposure to sunlight damages these objects. I already pulled a little bit out, though. It can be rewound. Carefully rotate the ridge section on the cylinder. I am currently blocking the sunlight from reaching the exposed section. Damage is of no concern. Okay. You mean this one, right? This one part that rotates? Yep. Went back in. With a quiet nod, Merceau took the object from Sinclair's hand. Is that a film roll? Sure looks like it. There's something written on the outside. Experiment number 4. It appears to be a compact roll for a film camera. I've seen it a few times before. You, seem pretty used to handling it, Merceau. Correct. Photographer... I mean, there could be all sorts of reasons. I mean, just hobby, journalism, evidence... I do shoot photographs. Merceau's answer came without any further explanation, but the way he adjusted the camera on the table certainly didn't look like that of a first-timer. I once received a report containing photographs taken on film cameras during the war. Film rolls used by N-Corp are particularly difficult to falsify. They're often used to collect intelligence during secret operations. The film fixes light directly onto the medium, from what I've heard. Yeah, it's a recording of light. Yeah, just when I was writing my presentation up, that really... making sure I wrote down that definition of photography felt important. A fixing of light, a recording of light. Ellipses. A peculiar expression flashed across Ezra's face as she regarded Otis. Perhaps it was a mention of war that caught her attention. Anyway, we managed to regroup in one piece. Let's come up with a plan to deal with these distortions, guys. Where should we begin? Then, in the next breath, she returned to her usual bubbly self and steered the conversation away from the subject. Both Ezra and I, we're both still trying to be free of the misconception we inflicted on ourselves. For all her unfailingly perky disposition, Ezra too might be carrying traumatic memories every bit as devastating as Gregor's. Does there yet remain aught deserving illumination? Huh? Yeah, wait, you're right. Haven't we cleaned up the distortion already? I couldn't feel any more traces of distortions nearby, and it didn't seem like any of the other Sinner teams elsewhere were actively engaged in battle at the moment either. Ryosha and Rhodey is a funny combo. I kind of want to see that. Dante's asking whether the distortion suppression has not, in fact, already been concluded. Oh, not yet. These people we fought just now, they only got caught up in the distortion. They didn't actually distort themselves. We haven't even gotten close to the distortion's inflection point yet. Inflection point? Anywho, finding an inflection point without the team leader around is gonna take some time. Maybe it won't be too bad with your help. Ezra swept her eyes around the room with a look of frustration as though she had just been handed a puzzle box with half the pieces missing. By inflection point, are you referring to the point on a graph in which the directionality of its curvature changes? Calling to mind the present context, it may be less the mathematical term, a more specialized polyseme referring to the point at which distortion occurs, the motive, intent, or indeed the point in which inflection of the mind occurs. Yep, that's about right. That's the kind of inflection point I was talking about. So in our department, we use that term to mean the source of a distortion, the inflector or cause behind it, stuff like that. But to have terminology. More place for Dante's notes. You know, distortion's hard to treat if you don't know the core cause. Treat the symptoms you see on the surface all you like, but if you never find the root cause, the distortion's never getting solved. So I guess you guys never really had to look for that kind of stuff, huh? Your boss clock opens the door into their fathoms or whatever, right? You mean Dungeon of the Fathoms? Yep, that's the one. From where we're standing, distortions are really high maintenance, time-consuming headaches. It's one thing to somehow manage to locate the inflection point, but curing it is another thing. You guys can just march straight into someone's heart, knock the snot out of everything in there, and then, ta-da! Patient ready for discharge. That's how it works, right? Not gonna lie, I was so jealous when I heard about it, I almost split my sleeve off. And here I thought you fellas handled it all the same way we did. You know, giving them a good beating and starting from there. Of course not! Why would anyone come to us with a distortion suppression request if it were that simple in the first place? But yeah, most of the time, peeps try to brute force approaches to it first, and then when things go south, they send requests to the company or our detective's office. That means the client this time must have been... bingo! Apparently, the residents of Butterstreet had all chipped in to commission all kinds of agencies like the Zwei and the Comet Specialized Fixer offices, but none of them could actually do things right, and the job got passed on to us. Meaning, the distortion phenomenon related to this kind of photograph is still occurring unchecked somewhere on the streets. Exactly. That's why we gotta find something. Anything that might count as a clue. Ezra gazed down at the people lying on the floor with a complicated expression. Neat ash-gray suits, and the logo on the collar of their uniform and briefcases. Hey, isn't that N-Corp's logo? Come to think of it, wasn't Merceau? I was once employed by N-Corp. What, you used to work with those people? Yeah, he did mention that he used to work at N-Corp. Maybe he can offer us some insight? It's so... every time something like this comes up, I'm like, I can't believe we're there, we're getting answers. I never felt like we'd get here. I mean, I knew we'd get here, but like... wow, the passage of time. Do you know who these guards are, Merceau? Yes, manager. These are N-Corp Class 2 staff members. Given the camera briefcases in their possession, they are likely members of the pinframe team of Service des Clous. I was noticing his gauntlets look very similar to the ones the enemies in the trailer were wearing. Merceau recited the information as though he were pulling it from a file he had already sorted and placed in the back of the shelf in his mind. Okay, pinframe team, huh? Like, pinhole camera or something? Anything you can tell us about them? Yes. Will you? It is one of the N-Corp's many field departments related to information gathering and processing. Their primary duties include handling of N-Corp's internal information, analysis N-Corp's internal intelligence, sorting and arranging N-Corp's internal information, and intersector. That'd be enough. No, I want to know more. Whoa, is he a talking encyclopedia or something? Yeah, that's another thing to be jealous of. You think it'll be okay if we borrow him sometimes? No, he's ours. Might be an issue for us if you just went and borrowed our team's encyclopedia. Looks like everyone agrees that he's an encyclopedia. Oh. Put all the skill points into that. Anyway, your encyclopedia is right. They're from N-Corp's pinframe team. Seen them a few times before in N-Corp's nest. But why would people already busy enough dealing with nest affairs come all the way out to a shabby back street like this? Got any guesses? It looked okay when we were out there. I am unable to determine that. The possible range of connections between the two pieces of information is exceedingly broad. Listing every relevant reason as to why they may have come here would require a considerable amount of time. We need a pinboard. Gotta make the connections. Therefore, I will not present a determinative answer to that question. Ezra staring holes into me with an unspoken, "Is this dude always like this?" wouldn't pull any answers from me, you know? Because aside from combat situations, I've still got no way to figure out what's going on in his head. Okay then. Merceau, maybe this will be easier to answer from an objective point of view. And that was when I noticed something I'd never imagined would happen. Merceau's eyes widened, his gaze fixing me with such force that I could almost feel the faint tremor in it. A leveling stare that came with, "There is no such thing as an objective point of view." So happy. I thought we might get a moment at the end of the event. Getting it now. Manager. A clipped tone and a look of almost bordering on rebuke. A given judgment may seem infinitely close to objectivity, but ultimately, all things are subjective, without exception. I fell silent for a moment, lost in thought. Part of it was because Merceau's reaction had caught me off guard, but I also wondered whether this response might be connected to why he would always refuse to make judgments for himself. And if this has something to do with his turn, which I know is just around the corner. Got it. Then tell me 3 subjective reasons you think are most likely for why these people had to come all the way into the back streets. I need to understand who he actually is as much as I can. Because I'll never know when I'll get another chance to really get to know him if I brush this off with a simple, "Oh, I see, my bad," as usual. Yes, manager. I would presume that their mission was one, or all of the following: a retrieval of a video recording or recordings in violation of Encore's taboo, prompt elimination of the violator, contact with an informant in the back streets collaborating with Encorp's nest, or identification and arrest of a wanted individual or individuals designated by the nest. Taboo? You mean these people could be taboo hunters? Nah, oh. Nah, no way. They don't send out taboo hunters for every single violation, you know. Like, wings usually leave minor taboo violations to be handled by subcontracted fixer offices or employees of the department in charge. I'd say these guys here are Encorp staff. Miss Indu, what are you looking for in their pockets? I'm looking through their belongings for enlightening clues yet to be hidden in the sleeve or the fold of their garments. Lady Moses has been gifted with the art of discerning the truth from what lies before her with but a single glance, yet my eyes are foreign to such a feat. Let me take a look too. This is an employee card, and... okay, this one's a wallet, so let's put that back. We don't want to be robbers. We're investigating. Aha! This might be it. It's an order missive. Ezra pulled out a sheet of paper from an Encorp staff coat and read its contents aloud. Work details. Elimination of the individual of a Class 3 taboo violation. Address Butter Street. This is the place. Which means all of this might be pointing to something. Whoever used to work in the studio and the distortion phenomenon might be connected. Yeah, now that you mention it, when that whole pop and change thing happened, it did kind of feel like a camera flash. Alright, let's start by combing through this place. Let me know if you find anything suspicious. I want the point and click mini game. Oh, but make sure we have detective vision so we don't have to pixel hunt. Oh, at long last hath the hour arrived for my debut as detective forsooth. Don Quixote must have been miffed for not getting to play detective back in T-Corp. No idea where she'd been keeping them, but she immediately pulled out the detective props that had been given to Rodeo Ryoshi and Honglu back then. Please wear them. Please wear them. Barely, I'd foreseen that the day would come. Fortunately, no! Otis wasted no time putting an end to Don Quixote's badly timed shenanigans. A sharp dressing down from her was enough to make our dejected chivalric adventurer stuff the costume away. No! Not fair. Okay then, we should get moving too. I don't need that back as my loading screen. My tea got cold reading all that. Okay, we gotta fight. Oh, you're not okay. So we are. No, I wanted to use them. Let me. Can't deploy Honglu. Now the oh, thank you. Otherwise, it's gonna probably do Zhong Office. I don't think we're gonna do. I don't think we can do Blade Lineage. I'm afraid I don't really want to level Otis up. I'll do Faust. Out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, getting egos harder, maybe tomorrow. Okay, we'll check tomorrow. But I get to use Ishmael, that was the important thing.
화점에 두지.
됐어. 부름이라면 기쁘게 나서지요.
I don't think I checked the weaknesses. I'll do Faust.
출정이군요.
I mean, you're mostly Slash, and you'll have, I'm guessing, like some envy. I'm sorry, pride. I'm missing envy though.
여기는 LCA 선봉팀. 오제 라디오 체크.
Well, the point is I want to try out Ishmael. Okay. This is an idea I want some sort of upscale. At least make Red Plum Blossom work. Okay amount of pride.
이번에 읽어줄 동화책은 이것으로.
We spent a long time while rifling through the photo studio with the LCD team, but no one found any decisive evidence. There sure are a lot of photos around, but almost all of them are just pictures of buildings. Nothing much to tell from that. There's intentionality with every photo, Dante. Aside from the canister containing the film roll Sinclair picked up, there are no remaining items here that can count as a proper clue, Executive Manager. I've confirmed that the rest are all empty plastic containers. Then it's probably best to check the contents of the film roll directly. Yes, Executive Manager. I'll find a way to develop the film. You guys find any sort of photo development room or equipment nearby? Let's search a little more before we see what's in that film roll. Mentor, what do you make of this object? For the 8th time in Do, I have no idea. If I had wits bright enough to understand all that lies before me with a signal glance like that team leader, I would just have passed the royal examinations long ago and secured myself a lucrative position as a court official. But, Mentor, hadn't you already passed the Once swung, a sword does not retrace its art in Do. So it is with life. There's no undoing what has already been cut. Okay, I do like that. Just gotta drop some wisdom every now and then. I tell it, he's gonna have his moment. Can have his moment. Thus, it is unnecessarily to dwell on that which cannot be undone. There's no after for what has been slashed away. Not for you, mentor. That's an expression. Ought you not dwell on what can no longer be undone? I misspoke. I did not mean it that way, Endu. I merely meant to say that I do not wish to recall my past. I am aware. You've told me as much since long ago, whenever you are placed in a position to retrace the past. Mostly at the eateries where you filled your belly on unpaid tabs, and each time you brought down the stone wall before a house by your own erring hand. Those are exactly the kind of things you should never forget. Ow, my belly, I feel stabbing pain in my belly. The spot, oh, the very wound you once gave me afflicts me yet. The one from when you thought you were only poking me with the scabbard, yet by some cruel turn, it was your sword that ran me through. Mentor, you said it was completely healed and that I need not concern myself with it. Those very same words have been repeated at least 80 times. But it still aches every now and then, chiefly when I hear your sharp cutting words that I really don't want to hear. Ah, is that so? Endu suddenly pulled out a sheet of paper and began furiously writing something down. What's this? I have written down the words that I have just said. If hearing my sharp cutting words afflicts you so, perhaps reading them instead would cause no suffering. Kim's face began to contort like a wet dish towel. That's a good one. I'm remembering that one. I really can't believe this is the same mentor Endu follows so devotedly. Where's all that dignity and forbearance Endu said he had? Young Endu. There is a matter I would ask thee. Apparently I wasn't the only one who felt that way about him. Pray speak freely. This may perhaps be a discourteous inquiry, but I too, when speaking to others of those whom I serve, often ornament my words with a laudation of an acceptable degree, and yet... I understand your concern, Lady Don Quixote. I suppose this is your first time seeing Mentor with his shoulders so unbraced and his bearing so loose. In truth, when I first beheld him, I also wondered whether such a man could truly be a leader worth placing my faith in. However, upon my honor, I assure you that I've never once uttered a falsehood when I spoke of him to you. My respect toward the blades of my own and foes alike, my determination to safeguard what must be protected, even should my arms be torn apart. All of these are, undoubtedly, the teachings that my mentor has imparted upon me. Unto me. Back, I'm taking my jumper off. I don't think you should make a habit of tearing your arms off with your own weapon. Truly? Why, if fortune should grant the opportunity, you may witness Mentor's true self yourself someday. That is to say, if we let ourselves be carried by the currents of the river, to revive at such a chance. Endu gave her prosthetic arm a casual sweep, smiling sincerely as though she truly believed every word she said. Then, leaning closer to Don Quixote, she whispered, "Besides, unless I speak with this vain, stern ignorance, there'll be no end to his digging in his heels. I would ask for your trust, for all this is aimed at his benefit. Forsooth, thou hast been too burdened with the trials of serving your superior." So that's what it was. I get it now. I can sort of... I can see a sort of whimsy in both Don Quixote, or Dad Quixote, and Kim. Slam. Oh, hello! Look at those gauntlets. Just as I witnessed the budding of this peculiar bond of commiseration and camaraderie between our chivalric friends, the door leading outside was flung open with a loud slam, and look, the briefcases are cameras. We've arrived at the target location. It appears that the advance party has already been defeated. Wait, who are these people? Didn't they say there was only a single violator? Oh crud. Looks like it's too late to talk our way out of this. Whatever excuses we come up with. Oh boy, this is not gonna go well. The same thing happened last time. When I saw the N-Corp employees, I thought we had the wrong intel. All of a sudden... a sudden flash blinded my vision white. As though I had stared straight into a burst of searing light. So intense and bright that it made my head swim. Ooh. Yeah, there was the same pop in... Would Dante be affected by flashbangs? With my vision blinded, the only thing I could make out was Ezra's soft murmur. Until even that came to a stop as her breathing hushed. Oh. 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 It didn't take long for me to realize what was happening. Seeing it again doesn't exactly warm the heart, wouldn't you say, Andu? Though escort may indeed be passing through hard times, this alley was not quite so wretched in form, was it, Mentor? Is that right? Looks the same to me. Is this how you... always see it? This place. Did we just get teleported to S-Corp? No, Dante. Though it generates a considerable sense of verisimilitude, this is... I think I know what this is. This is a presence. I haven't been able to detect it until just now, but somehow it was now surrounding us, saturating every corner of the space where we stood. The dreary stone walls, trees bent and coiled in grotesque forms, the sheen of the light, even the air we breathe, all point them towards a single phenomenon. Domain expansion. This is the depth of the fathoms. Fathoms made entirely out of a distortion. There are completely different distortions where the N-Corp employees were just a moment ago. Executive manager, it's... This is exactly it! This is exactly what I was trying to explain! Oh... They look so cool! I want these ideas. Look how they render the hair now. All we need is for this part to be animated. We need like the Gekidan Inukuri. Where Ezra pointed, the people in smart neat suits had vanished, and in their place, figures clad in blood-stained dopo robes were approaching us with dragging, uneasy steps. Right, let's fight first and talk later. Ready, Indu? My blade is poised to strike, Lady Ezra. And wait, where's the bamboo-hatted dude? I might have to use that now. Bamboo-hatted dude. I'm afraid he has already taken his leave. He said he had no desire to cross blades with the Chuno-kuns of Escorp twice. Uno-kuns? Come on, man. Not again. He's a repeat offender, that's for certain. Executive manager. Wherever Kim's gone off to, this definitely isn't the time to be asking trivial questions. There's like a doggy in the background. Right, let's do what Ezra says and get ready for battle. On your orders, Executive Manager. Men, prepare for battle. Doggy! Hey, doggy's still here. He left. Oh! Double duty! I love the like Kagurabachi icon she gets. Should I read your kit? Green. Play Lineage, LCD, Limbus Company. I assume Ezra's pretty much gonna take care of her own thing. Golden Retriever exclusive axe. Dimensional bag, Alice. And let's just take a look at Indu. Level 60. Rending Arts. Coin power +1 for every boy. Oh. Already jumping into Bloys. Turn the volume down just a teeny bit. Blaze and bleed on target. Haste, space power +2. Poise, bleed. Acupuncture. Coin power +1 for every 6. Poise on self, bleed on target. Haste. Poise, 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 bleed, poise, bleed. To claim their bones. That's so cool. The skill does not trigger defense skills. Clashable. Missing HP. 10% damage on critical hit for every haste on self. Base power +1 for every 4 poise on self, bleed on target. Poise, bleed, paralyze. Lucent rippling flame. More damage for missing HP. More critical hit. Damage on critical hit for haste. Poise, bleed on Poise on self, bleed on target. Coin power +1, max 2. Mook workshop. Does this have? Oh wow! Got a whole story here. Max stack 20. Slash damage for every stack. Defense skills lose 1 clash power for every 2 stacks. Gain 1 haste. You like that model? Ooh, new girl's got an eye for quality. Excuse me, can we try this model? Oh, come on, relax. I know the deal. You break it, you buy it. Thanks. See? Told you I'm a regular here. Okay, so the sword and the scabbard come as a set. So grab them both and feel the weight. How's that? Not as heavy as they look, huh? Oh. So there's this particle powder thingy in that scabbard under patent by Mook Workshop. Every time you sheath and unsheath the sword, for a brief moment, its blade comes out way sharper and lighter. And that model you're holding happens to focus on the sharpness. So it's like, ding! And voila, you get a nice buff on your weapon. I think it's one of the EA series models. That's Mook Workshop's classic lineup, by the way. Check out the finish here. It's... what the heck? Hey, this is the Yay Type 2 model that went out of production. You know what? This stuff really isn't easy to come by. We're lucky we found this one here. We found one here. If it's such a rarity, Lazy Ezra, perhaps you ought to wheel it said. No, it's fine. Well, I can see it's literally made for you, and it'll work real nice with those boosters on your new prosthetic arms. It'll need some getting used to, but you'll be one heck of a fighter once you get the hang of it. Anyway, consider it a gift from yours truly. You're officially one of us now. Officially our new girl. No more temp ID. Then, I shall accept it with gratitude. By the way, remember that classic lineup part? It's super durable, but there are delicate parts that you should watch out not to break. Okay, you know what? Let them break if it really comes to that. Just don't die on us. I shall take your words to heart. Assist defense, observing the stones on the board. Flashable guard, assist defense, exclusive skill. Moses be collecting orphans like Irma. Aww. Zoom 5 to gain 3. Just reminding myself of... oh yeah, okay, so second skill 3. Gain 1, gain 1. Even the balance, lucid rippling flame. Skills not trigger. Defense, 20% damage on critical hit, consume all on self, and what's the max attack 20, bleed, 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 haste. On crit, if 5 plus haste, reuse this coin once per skill, assist defense, breakable, assist defense, exclusive skill. Oh, wait, no, wait, this is our Kim, sorry. For a moment. Okay, now what do you guys have? Incapacitate and bind. You escort, fixer. Avulsions, actually let's do passives first. On clash lose, gain 1 head splitting memory once per turn. Max stack 1, Turn end, gain 1 bind. Next turn, turn end, gained. Current turn count divided by 4. Clash power up, rounded down, max 3. Expires at turn end. Scouring, hunter band. I feel like these should be like, the little photograph stuff should be like twitching a little bit. Deal 5% damage for every bind on target. To cover the eyes is not to be blind. These fabrics, created using Q-Corp Singularity. Oh, Q-Corp lore! I was missing that from the last intervallo. Are fashioned into many forms, such as blindfolds and headbands, and are commonly used throughout the East. It is not unusual to see fixers, employees of corporate entities in the East, covering their heads and faces with these products. The fabrics serve the same function as sunglasses, visors, and even combat prosthetic eyes found elsewhere in the city. They scan the target's information in real time, augment the wearer's vision, and provide tactical analysis. At times, they can also serve as a means of communication with distant allies. Tracking traces. On Clash Win, gain poise for re-evulsion wound. Max stack, 2 bleed for every stack, gain bleed count, gain bind. I want to use Honglu. Throwing out the Aura Bond. On hit, if target is staggered, inflict 2 bind next turn. Panic type, jumbled memories. Your hot blindfolds. I was thinking. They do look cool though. Offense level up, defense level down. And don't know any weakness. Hopefully they don't resist slash. Revulsion slash. If this unit's speed is faster than the target's, okay, important. Convert all coins into unbreakables. Poise, poise, bleed, bleed, evulsion wound. Escape cutoff. Read Honglu. He seems OP for freebie. I haven't looked at his whole kit. I only looked at the preview from Monday, but I was like, this looks solid. And he should be solid when he has to compete with like a very good. His like best IDs are like, some of them are poise and bleed. Flashable counter, which will probably on use ignore. So that's incapacitate. We do get good freebies sometimes. And we have bind. Look at Kurokuma Heath. Okay, if this target inflict trust, gain prisoner transport arrangements. We know this should be similar to Honglu's, I assume. Fix this unit's speed to 1. Fix this unit's base. 0.5 to 0. That's a lot. If the prisoner transport arrangements buff on the inflictor expires, this effect expires as well. Fix this unit, speed to 1. If the trust effect... lose. Escort commands 2 sorts of taboo hunters, the royal censors and the Chiunokuns. Agents of the royal court, the royal censors generally operate alone, moving undercover to pursue those who dare to break the taboo of Salpipio. Chiunokuns, much like the fixers, form bands within their own ranks. Once an order or a contract to hunt down a branded is bestowed upon them, each band hunts its mark in the manner preferred by the band. The hunt for the Nobi knows neither honor nor dignity. Scouring hunter band, tracking traces. Okay. Trammel. Poison bleed, bind, cut off, poison bleed. I think we'll ignore the clashable counters because it doesn't seem to be any reason to go for them. Guess we'll just start trying to win the clashes. Well, neutral. Ishmael, what's your...
이 주변은 귀하에겐 해가 될 수 있으니 물러나시길.
Okay, pride is your... defense... okay. Actually, you're unopposed. Get a little bit of resonance favored. Just a weeny bit.
그대는 어디까지 각오했을지.
아름다운 것. 그렇지 않은 것.
억제 성공. 진정. 격발.
Maybe let's see if we can get a Furioso.
검문 확보.
See, now that's what we call an aura loss.
필연적. 절대적. 초월
전술 시야 처리.
불확실한 것.
Okay, now you got Gluttony skill. Hunter Scouring. Coin power +1 for every poise bleed. If this unit speeds faster than the targets, convert all coins into unbreakables. Flash win. Poise. Bleed, bleed, bleed. Inflict 3 bind next turn. On hit. Bind times 20% chance to inflict trust. If target is staggered, this effect is inflicted without fail. Interesting. 2 are going for those. Actually, did we find out? Okay, yeah, weak to Slash and Pride. Could have guessed. Ooh. Was still fairly slow. Could get a bit of resonance if we wanted, but try again.
무대배들.
I want to try out his ego.
소리와 호흡을 멈추고.
I like, if we have Indu helping us, I feel less of a need to chat Ishmael right this moment. I want to chat the ego a little bit more right now.
미래를 과거와 같이.
Okay, good thing you're all fairly slow. Keep an eye on where Insanity is at. Now let's do a bit of resonance.
발광. 차단.
Okay, you got that one.
유쾌하게. 그댄 선택받은
예측한 대로.
How many are there? We'll keep an eye on turn count. Okay, 10. I want to rather not waste that. Don, you handle that one. Oh, I forgot Faust. You don't have... I forgot your defense is Gloom for some reason. some very mysterious reason. Why don't we get that going?
포위망 구축.
이제 완료.
Marks the 9th.
운명적인 죽음일세. 검수망 모드.
단단히 포기하지 마시게.
적개체 무력화.
Hey, you get that sanity. I feel like I never get to use Thorcalja.
처음으로 숨긴
And need to remember I hate the sound effect.
지금
Why do we have like a nails on the chalkboard sound effect? I'll end who's going first. That's okay. 9. You only cost 3 pride? You're scouring. Can I use it? I want to have fun with it.
물의 배들.
Oh, don't you. Okay, still get Furioso.
검을 걷고 모든 검의 길에 한 걸음 더 가까이.
Although it wouldn't matter if we had to save it.
그대 선택받았어.
Who can't we get believe we got this? Mirrored and executed.
나라이가 이 상처를 기억할지.
Photo finish. Also, it's 5ST. That should be all of them. Can we pet the dog? Surveying the area with measured alert, Endu casts the blood from her sword with a few sharp flicks before sliding it into her sheath. That's such a cool move. They're not changing back. Doesn't look like beating up the distorted ones reverts them immediately this time round. Perhaps a fortunate turn of events, in a way. Let us search for clues while time allows us. Right. You take that side, Endu. I'll search here. Ezra and Endu moved about as though they were used to this kind of situation. Without even taking a moment to catch their breath after the battle, they began searching the space. Pretty! Don Quixote was the first one to voice her doubt in the surreal, unfamiliar situation we found ourselves in. We battled distortions upon our arrival hither, yet never before have I beheld our surroundings change with so sudden a flash. Really, I cannot make sense of the situation. Couldst thou render a detailed account of this distortion phenomenon? Apologies. It appears I overlooked the briefing due to the urgency of this predicament. This is, according to the definition presented by Lady Moses, a location-type distortion. I've been waiting for so long. I want to meet the person who became like the... What was it? The like washing machine distortion. The laundromat distortion. Even more than Marksman in the Mist, I want the Laundromat distortion. It's basically when a whole space distorts. And since places and buildings can't move on their own, the distortions get fixed in a certain space. Laundromat of Dreams, there we go. I missed you. Can I see it? As for this one, looks like the distortion's already progressed pretty far along. Middle stage, probably. They don't usually get this big, but this one here is covering almost an entire street. Then those people. They entered the space and got caught up in it, and our job right now is to get to the bottom of the phenomenon. What exactly gets people caught up, and what happens to them once they're in. Of course, we can't really rule out the possibility of a powerful distortion that's encroaching upon its environment. Oh, by that I mean when a distortion bleeds into the space around it and warps it. Oh man, I'm actually talking like your team leader. Rubbed off on me, I guess. Ezra continued with a sheepish giggle. In any case, we won't be able to suppress or cure the distortion even if we whoop these guys' asses 100 times. We need more clues to help us locate the inflection point. Maybe we should examine these people over here too? With a call, Ezra directed our attention to rows of collapsed people all around, all of them clad in dopo robes. And these are the glyph emblazoned upon their headbands. 2. Bespeaks propulsion pursuit and marks them as Chuuno-kuns, functionaries charged with scouring and hunting runaway nobis. You hail from the homeland as we do. I'm unsurprised that you know of them. I could hardly fail to know, for I too was once enumerated among their quarry. Scientists and technicians were daily being dispossessed of their stations in Escorp, after all. So it was no idle tale. Scientists who ply their craft without fattening Escorp's coffers are seized forthright and made nobis of the corporation. Indeed. I count myself fortunate to have absconded with my friends afore a brand of Nobi could be impressed upon us. Otherwise... Nobi. The wretched appellation conferred upon people for the convenience of those in power. A vile practice and excuse for their power-mongering, nothing more. The so-called taboo hunters of Escorp operate by much the same anatomy. Does the breaching of taboo summon the hunter, or does the hunter first seize his prey, to thereafter frame the captured with invented transgression? If the powerful so desire to chase a man down, to take possession of his very being and keep him caged, then they need only decree that he should bear the lot of a Nobi. Such is what Encorp has become today. Escorp! As Encorp on the mind, my mentor too is one of the victims of that accursed practice. Then could these people have been sent out to capture your mentor or Isang? Or me, perhaps? Or none of us? You mean to state that they may be conceptual forms of Chuuno-kuns generated by distortion? That is a plausible conjecture. You're getting nowhere with this clue hunting. Let me do it! Give me the points and click! With a heavy sigh, Otis pressed her fingers against her brow as if her head were starting to pound in frustration. To delve further into the matter, it is necessary to determine why the Escorp and its Chuuno-kuns have appeared as the motif of this phenomenon. Considering the course of events we have seen so far, would it not stand to reason that the distortion stains all nearby things with memories most foul? The presence of Chuuno-kun suggests a possible correspondence to Isang's memories. Conversely, however, the absence of T-Corp's time collectors weakens that hypothesis. In which case, the most plausible theory is that this particular distortion could have been stemmed from Bamboo-Hatted Kim's or Endu's memories. Endu furrowed her brow and fell into thought as though she couldn't grasp the full picture of the problem. I've seen a few distortions that show trauma or affect their surroundings. But this one? Not getting that pop of inspiration. Can't even guess what this distortion wants either. It's about the pop of photography. Whoa! The white flash of light suddenly jammed my vision again as Ezra clutched her head and cried out with an annoyance. And we're back. If only the team leader was here, cracking this would be a piece of cake. And we're back. This is why you kept asking whether we've seen anything bursting with a pop. Then Corp employees must have it rough too, getting dragged into the distortion like this. I mean, what else are we supposed to do? It was self-defense. They're about to attack us. I suppose finding the root cause and taking care of it would be the fastest way forward. Let's just do what we can for now. Okay, first we need to develop the film we found here. We'll head to the nearest darkroom and... Actually, let's first drag that slippery hat-wearing Colt back here and get him talking about the Tunukuns. That's probably our best bet. Every time we take a job, that slacker just slips off without telling anyone. As one part of me watched Ezra stamp her feet in frustration, I was also carefully following Heathcliff's team through the other part of my vision. Oh, I think I can help with that. Have you located him? Huh? What? Boss Clock found something? Yep, I found where bamboo-hatted Kim is right now. With the B team?
완벽하게 수행되었지 않은가? 하지만 아직 기약은 없구려. 그렇다면 여전히 난
Photos of long flavor text. Oh, thank you. I'll get them in the next one. Let's do one more and then it's a bit late for me. Film. More of Snap. The sound of a hammer driving a nail in. What precisely is being driven in? The camera waylays the light of a given moment, then nails it onto rough paper for exhibition. Was the photograph taken as a record or a remembrance? Perhaps the photograph's name ought to change depending on which purpose it is made to serve. After all, beams of light nailed down by a hammer, only to be recorded and never remembered, are pitiable things. Within printed photographs, dead light screams in despair, burned and blackened. The dead lights perish screaming where they are nailed. Record the smile of someone standing in the photograph. I love this event. Oh, everyone is here. We can...
자유로워질 수 없어. 이 거미줄을 끊어내지 않고서는.
Oh, thank you. I'll just check. For the bundles of flavor tech, I'll check.
화점에 두지.
대상
출정이군요.
부름이라.
여기는 LCA 선봉팀.
Kill.
오젝트. 라디오 체크.
No team killing, but not getting huge bonus here, but I just want to try.
착수.
Now the rest of your Kurokumo. Maybe we'll get Kurokumo glow up. Meanwhile, Heathcliff's team. Bloody hell, what's up with these guys? They're showing up out of nowhere. How should I know? Wait, didn't Gregor have a line in one of the previous scenes? I thought he was with us. How should I know? But judging by their getup, they seem like escort fellas. And things were going so well. We could have talked it out with those fedora guys who were rummaging around the place earlier, you know? But no, you just had to go barking at them first. Would have saved us a whole lot of trouble if you hadn't, right? Oh, so it's my fault. Those guys look like they were nicking stuff. This is our contract area, ain't it? If they walked off with something important, we'd be the ones catching hell. Gregor everywhere system. Or maybe he's scary Watson. Listen, bud, not everyone's itching to swipe hair coupons into their pockets the second they get the chance. Let's never let him forget that. Oh, for how many bloody months are you not gonna milk that? You're never letting it down, living it down. Excuse me. What, you got a problem too, mate? No, not at all. Just wondering whether that gentleman over there is also one of our enemies? Is that the end of your troop performance? Shame, I was really enjoying watching you folks dance. Might have mistaken this place for the Peach Blossom Land of Legends had there been a cup of fine makgeolli to go with it. Rice wine. Yeah, that's an enemy, alright. He has a name tag though. I think it says LCD. LCD or what? Who gives a toss? Am I to put up with every guy having a dig at me? Oh dear. Such bold swings. Didn't know there was an encore to that performance. Huh. You slippery little rat. Well, I do find this amusing enough, but if you intend to play with me, you ought to be more aware of your surroundings. Hey, behind you, there's... Wow, he took up all those doppel-wearing people with just a single strike. I'd say that about covers the price of admittance for your troop circus, wouldn't you? Well then, I'll leave the rest to you folks. Wandering Blades and Wormtails never linger on the stage for long, after all. Oi, where the heck do you think you're going? Ah, damn it. I must avoid the fan art for now. Bind, incapacitate, but... no clashing. What we have... oh wait, how much does it cost? Yeah, just 3 pride. Wow. Ooh. Get the pride. Bonk. I like how the track is sort of reminiscent of his boss theme. Good work there. I could tell you dealt a hard blow. So I watched Nintendo Direct. I watched what I wanted to watch. New Fire Emblem. Yay! And Toho. Let me in. I guess just in case, we'll do it on something else. I want to see it. He's so cool. Look at him now. I guess since we have the values and such. Is there any... Let's double check it. Okay, no flavor text. Max deck 4, poise for every stack, 2 poise for every stack, base skills, clash damage, clash power, resentment. Okay, heal, resentful scabbard. When an ally includes him, take damage, gain glowing resentment, growing resentment, in memoriam. Pride, yeah. Heal my flesh. Sword of the Homeland, true essence effects. Yeah, okay. Not what I thought. Let's... Okay, you've unlocked. Let's... Not a lot of resident... Yeah, and we don't want to kill anybody, but... What's something... I was actually thinking, I kind of want to replay... I want to replay Engage, because I never actually did, like, all the DLC. Oh, hi, okay-san. I'm like, maybe another 3 houses run before the new one. I guess I have to decide who I'm gonna play with. I mean, what's the first story? Oh, and there's another light blue-haired girl in the new Fire Emblem, just for me. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I bet this is gonna be like a cool boss mechanic. Le Clou? Oh, I have to admit, I haven't played an FP game since GBA. What would you recommend as a jumping on point? It depends what you want out of it. I really like Three Houses. I really like Three Houses. It's not regarded as highly for its gameplay or like map design, but I really like the story. I like what it's trying to do. It's not the prettiest game. And I think the gameplay is really strong and appealing in Engage. Story is not as strong. Three Houses has the divergent narrative. Exactly. Icy end chord. Let's see. Reticent, icy. Yeah, Echoes is not... Echoes, I would say, has like some of the weaker map design, unfortunately. But it's a good overall package. I mean, it depends what you're going to be playing on. My big gap in playing the games is I haven't played Radiant Dawn, Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn, so I can't comment on those even though people love them. Thinning nail and trimmer. Nails upscale. Okay. Intelligence Obsession. Clash against targets that have intelligence gathering, base power +1, deal 10% damage, fragile. Well, let me know what you think and what house you start with. Then we'll do logs. If the scene inflicted intelligence gathering on an enemy, heal 10 SP. On triggering Tremor Burst, raise target stagger threshold by pinning nail stack. Pinning nail. Turn start gain 1 offense level down for every 2 binds. Gain bleed equal to stack. Oh, it really is! Really is nails upscale. Nails would be so much better if it didn't like half itself before doing the bleed. On Tremor Burst, gain bleed count equal to stack. Oh, and bleed count. Not that it's... I mean, as long as you have sanguine, bleed count is not as hard as it used to be, but... Nails would also be better on better units, that is true. I was playing with a bleed team the other day for something, and I was missing Enfaust. I was doing like Lust Resonance, and I was like, wait, where's the SP? Because I was so used to using her forever. Gain bind equal to stack next turn. I want to see these animations. Briefcase, corner point, haste, bleed, tremor, and nail. Weighted bash, haste, bleed, tremor, nail, nail, nail. Snapshot, base power +1 for every bleed on target plus... Okay, more bleed tremor stuff. And so it's... Okay, so it's the counter for now that has... Offense level down, paralyze, intelligence gathering. Intelligence gathering, when using a skill of identical rank to the skill Oh, interesting. When using a skill of identical rank to the skill photograph, clash power -5. Defense skills and eagle skills are counted separately. Skill photographed. Interesting. Oh, that's really interesting. Due to the expected difficulties in recording a voice log owing to the noise level in the surrounding area, and as the relative lull of the situational emergency permits, this observation log will be handwritten. The flash is followed by anomalous alterations to select entities or surroundings. The flash is always accompanied by a loud noise. The noise is a composite synthesis of various noises commonly associated with photography equipment. The rustle whining film, the high-pitched whine of electricity charging, the flash component, and the like. Altered entities universally exhibit anomalies akin to scrapbook-like collage of various print material such as newspapers or magazines. For humans, these anomalies are most commonly observed on the face. This does read like an SCP log. After a certain point, most altered entities begin to exhibit identifying elements associated with District 19, and once the alteration progress caused by the distortion was halted, they returned to Pinframe Team Stat members of NCorp, Service des Clous. It does not appear that its main mode of interaction is spawning sub-entities or summoning their illusions, but overlaying certain appearances to entities already in the vicinity. Overlaying... which is kind of like IDs in a way. Noticeable boosts to the overlaid entities' combat capabilities have been observed. The exact cause is unknown. Current working theory constructed by the LCD on-site investigative reasoning team posits a high-level likelihood that it is a location-type distortion. I like the armor. Me too! Hi! Following that reasoning, can be concluded that this case cannot be resolved simply by defeating the altered entities. No further discoveries are to be made. This observation log is concluded. And that was Icy. Let's check out Reticent. Okay, same, but you have... You're using this Pride skill. Coin power +1 for every 6 bleed. If this unit speeds faster to Unbreakable. Then inflict intelligence gathering. Okay. Oh wait, what's this? Memory transition. A stack 3, turn in, lose 1 stack. If this unit is 0 stacks of this effect, it turns start. Certain units and effects transform. Okay, so I guess that's gonna change us back to the other ones. I guess also our question is, what are these guys weak to? Interesting. I think we'll leave the countering one for now. I like this track as well. I really like the like shutter sound going on in the background. The other thing about Fire Emblem, like, I don't know if there's really a wrong option of any of the newer games. I'm sure people would argue with me, but there's a lot I like about all of them. So I would put, like, my general recommendation to the newer ones, but if other people ask me, I'd also just want to ask, like, what are they looking for from a Fire Emblem game? Okay, so now you have the effect. It says, when using a skill identical rank to the skill photographed. Okay, so that was skill 2. / echo share. Okay, okay. I see how it works properly this time. Okay, you're also weak to slash. I suppose I should have affected that. You're gonna post everyone else's. Oh yeah, if you want like heavier emphasis on story, then definitely like, I think Three Houses is, I mean, not everyone likes Three Houses story, but I feel like it's generally considered like the stronger ones. Also, I could take an unopposed. I also hear really good things about Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance. It's on the list. Fates is not well regarded for its story, but I'm a big fan of its gameplay, and I think I like a lot of what it's trying to do. I think the visuals and music are really great. She's a bit silly. Photo finish is gonna take on a new meaning now. So let me get this straight. Oh, there's dark room. Look at all those chemicals. I think they're using mercury fumes. How much do you know about Fate? They're only never touched a Fate property, so only through cultural, social media, osmosis. I guess I did retweet that image of Ishmael and Saber. Finishing my tea. I know who Saber is. Dude was here just a minute ago, and now nobody knows where he wandered off to. Yeah, bloke just turned up out of nowhere, flapped his gums, then did a runner before anyone could grab him. Ezra let out a long, listless sigh, as though she was getting sick and tired of even complaining about Kim. Lady Ezra, I cannot say your frustration is misplaced, yet I trust you're also aware that, more often than not, Mentor's actions have carried a profound design. He has never left his post without purpose so far. No, I get it, okay? But come on, I'm gonna kill him to give us a heads up before he goes zooming off on his own again. It's not like we'd stop him. What are we gonna do? Tie him up? Lock him up in a closet? We don't do that in our team, right? Remember last time? We all thought he was being a good patient and sleeping it off in the recovery ward. But nope, when the LCE got infiltrated, he snuck out without telling anyone and came back like nothing happened. And the team leader didn't even chew him out for that. Lady Ezra, that's... Oopsie, wasn't supposed to mention that, was I? Then the reason he failed to participate in the operation was... simply because the LCD was lax in supervising its personnel. Is that what you're suggesting? I bet he had a plan. Lady Moses bade us to hold our tongues for this very reason. She knew full well Mentor's intentions would be misunderstood in precisely such a manner. What part of this have I misunderstood? Did you not just disclose that the man deserted his post without authorization? That's the thing, he wasn't just wandering around, he was outside all alone taking down the ring auto mannequins who locked down the elevator that leads into the LC department. See? Yeah, it's not like he was dealing with the strongest enemy out there, but the recovery ward didn't have an emergency alarm, and nobody from the department was there to warn him either. He somehow just caught on and did the job himself. Heard it's all thanks to him that the facilities team managed to get the comms back up and contact that LCE chief dude way faster, and that helped the LCA actually deploy. They would have been delayed for another hour or two if he hadn't stepped in, apparently. And he went fighting even though he still wasn't fully recovered, so he came back looking like he had been processed through a meat grinder. So yeah, he did end up staying in bed like a good patient, in a lot of pain. Then the soldier's not entirely deserving of reproach. Nope, he's a less talking, more doing type, I guess. Anyway, we're all stuck inside the building back then during the incident. So fine, I suppose there was no helping it. Today though, never mind. It's always like this with him. He slips away and pops back in saying, it's done. My point is, what happens if one day one of those solo missions doesn't go his way and he just drops dead in the street somewhere? How are we supposed to help him then? Actually, how does he even know what he's supposed to be done in the first place when nobody gave him any instructions? Bloke's gotta be relying on his gut feeling in it. Gut feeling? Look, I only saw the bloke for a bit, so I can't say I've got him all figured out. He's an annoying guy, but he didn't strike me as some clueless sod who doesn't know where he's stepping. Heathcliff scratched at his chin, then kept talking as though he were stating an obvious fact. Today's proof enough. He's not one of us, so Clockhead couldn't have reached him from that far and sent him to back us up. But there's no way he just happened to run into us just when we were about to get into battle, innit? Then... well, could be bloke's got some sharp head on him and piece things together. Could be that. But I've got these moments when I get a flash of that gut feeling, however you want to call it. My bossman Matthew said he could hear that kind of stuff too. Says I can hear them gears turning, or I think I hear rats scurrying about. You do things you couldn't make heads or tails of. Listen, there's this one time when we were expecting a life and death fight. Matthew says he can hear them gears turning, walks into a random pub, starts throwing back drinks like he's lost his bloody mind. Uh-huh, that does sound like someone who lost his bloody mind. Back then, when I was on the ship, some sailors used to drink the bow dry before battling whales to blunt their fear, only to stumble around on the deck and fall overboard. That's not funny. Yeah, the boss could knock it back like a whale. So the point is, getting plastered right before a turf war is not what most sane people would call a good idea. He had us all cross, so we went stomping after him. And guess what? Turns out that pub was the secret hideout where the opposing syndicate was holed up. They were crowding around the gaffer, running their mouths about how they'll kill him and put an end to the dead rabbits. That's when we came storming in and had them surrounded instead. Not a single one of them got away. We beat them bloody. Every last guy. And boss knew it'd play out that way. Sorry, but this really sounds like Barstool bragging to me. You sure that wasn't just a coincidence? I should think it was no mere chance. If you are saying as much, then surely this was but one among many such coincidences. Is that not so? Yeah, every time Matthew pulled one of those stunts, our lot ended up growing bigger. Wouldn't have kept working so neatly if it were just a coincidence. It is likely what is often referred to as, indeed, an instinctive sense, or experience-based precognition. More accurately, an unconscious process by which information accumulated in the subconscious is sorted and converted into sensible conclusions. There have been some extremely rare cases in which Heathcliff has demonstrated the ability to arrive at a coherent Come on. He doesn't need this now. Has demonstrated the ability to arrive at coherent conclusions that surprise even Faust. On further analysis, it would appear that he was employing a mechanism similar to a sixth sense, as some people call it. Or he could have just figured it out. Is that a compliment, or are you taking the piss out of me? Though my mentor does not see fit to explain each step he takes. When all is past, I often find no footfall of his ways was taken in vain. I would ask of you, grant him but a little time and wait. Keep waiting, and the shape of his intent may yet become clear. Though I confess I have also been concerned about him of late. His recent silence is far heavier than what I have noticed in the past. To wait. Don Quixote began, hesitated, then stopped herself from saying more. She only gave a quiet nod. Yeah, okay, I suppose our team leader has her own reasons for letting him be. That said, doesn't mean I'm happy about it. Let us return to the task at hand and do what we can for now. Fine, fine. As the others quieted down, I found the room to notice the place we found ourselves in. There wasn't a single ray of light, just a deep red hue pressing in from every side. I can't believe we've been chatting away in the dark this whole time, fellas. And the red lights aren't helping at all, especially with my aging eyes. Oh, are you looking for the light switch? It's right here. And right then... Don't turn on the light. I heard Messo's clipped warning, his voice coming from a corner I didn't expect to find. Messo, where are you? Ah, there he is, the corner. Is he washing something? I'm developing the film role, manager. Exposure to light might ruin the entire role. Please exercise caution. So he'd been doing his own thing. That explains why he was quiet all along. This is such a like a sad flashback track. Huh, didn't know you knew how to print photographs, pal. Well, it's that for anyway. You expressed the wish to have the film developed, manager. I'm carrying out that instruction. I see. A photo studio first and now a darkroom. This may be more than a conjecture, but it would not be unreasonable to suppose that the axis of this distortion rests upon a photographer. The film's serial numbers either match those found in the photo studio or deviate by only a single digit. It is certain that this darkroom is connected to the studio in some way. The images bear striking resemblance to these photographs. I also believe this building and that photo studio share a strong connection. Oh, where did you get these photos? I brought some from the photo studio. I cannot name the locations in the pictures with certainty, Yet they all appear to have been taken at various places in N-Corp's district, buildings mostly. Hey wait, I know what these are. People take pictures like these when supplying stuff to that department store. Correct. The photos must have been taken by a docographer. Merceau chimed in, holding up an odd cylindrical container in his hand this time. He gave the container a shake every now and then with a measured rhythm. Whatever he was doing seemed to be part of the process of developing the film. Film rolls are hardly affordable for the average resident in Corp. In most cases, taking photographs is done as part of a professional duties. That's what was like so amazing about Kodak. My memory of this part was, and also it's kind of scary for like photography as a profession, the idea that suddenly anybody could take them and then could take photos. I mean, you still have to take them to be developed, but it could upend the entire structure of the world. There are approximately 21 occupations in District 14 that utilize photography. However, only a single profession involves routinely photographing specific buildings, adhering to fixed standards that can be observed in these pictures. And these docugraphers you mentioned, are people interested with that job? Yes, they photograph the information to be poured into canned experience! Oh, of course. Of course. A docugrapher. How could a person of such a decently lucrative profession fall into distortion? Decent job maybe, but how do you know if they're a decent person? It would be a stressful job. And I don't think like decent person necessarily correlates with distortion. I mean, looking at Kim. Ezra replied with a clear-cut answer after only a brief pause. What makes you say that? The photo studio we were at didn't have any dark rooms, right? No, it didn't. My team leader said that there are other ways of processing film rolls, but in N-Corp, you have to go to a darkroom to develop and print them. Correct. Film rolls are usually immersed in developer solution to be processed. Which is why photo studios have these darkrooms equipped with red safe lights right next to them. But this place, it's pretty far from that photo studio. Huh. Yeah, now that you mention it. Check out these windows. They're only covered by newspapers, all messy-like. If you consider how sensitive film rolls are to light, it's really super suspicious that this darkroom doesn't have any proper blackout panels. I didn't even notice. Yeah, newspaper. And you know films can cost a fortune in some place in the city, right? Who in their right mind would print photos in a room patched up with yesterday's newspaper? Oh. This probably isn't even a legit darkroom. Someone just hauled in the bare minimum tools needed to develop film and threw them together in a hurry. Someone who didn't want to be seen printing photos, and people don't usually avoid scrutiny unless they're doing something not so decent. You don't know. If that's the case, then I can see why they might have distorted. Right? Manager. Marcel came to my side quietly, still giving the strange cylinder the occasional shake. I have a request regarding your instruction to develop this film roll. Oh, what is it? Please ensure that the light in this room is not turned on until development is complete. Aren't we already doing that? Yes, however, engaging in battle opens the door to uncontrollable variables. This is why I've judged it necessary to make a separate request. Are we doing a core suppression? Blackout core suppression mechanics? Battle? There is no need for concern. I'm capable of participating in combat while maintaining the development process. Wait, can you slow down? A battle, you say? Surely there must be cause for you to believe so. At the photo studio, reinforcements arrived exactly 11 minutes and 34 seconds after N-Corp's pinframe team staff were defeated. Deductions based on the events thus far make it clear that the photo studio and this darkroom share some kind of connection. Furthermore, Sinner Heathcliff, Singer Honglu, and Sinner Gregor have battled N-Corp's pinframe team in this very location. I hear footsteps rushing up the staircases, approaching closer and closer. I have a feeling I know what Merceau is getting at, but I ask anyway. Meaning? The initial rinse is finished. The process is now halfway to completion of the second agitation. This indicates that 11 minutes and 30 seconds have elapsed since the start of the development. A battle is imminent. Please withdraw to a safe position, manager. Merceau, you. You should have warned us way earlier! Understood, manager. I will follow that instruction going forward. Then we have photos. How much do I have? Let me in! Let me in! Oh no, I got locked. Okay, I am gonna finish up there because it is late for me. But thank you everybody. We will be hopefully finishing. I'm always up. I feel like events are getting longer and longer. Oh, there they go. So I'd like to finish tomorrow. It does depend on the length. But that'll be the aim. I guess I've done like at least a third. If there's some like only battle levels, maybe. But I hope everybody else enjoys the event, and I will see you tomorrow. Or today, I suppose, for some people. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.